Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian, own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. This is the vault, episode 645. Questions for Trust Christian Mentor Q&A. Just want to go ahead and put people on notice. We're going to go ahead and bring out the mentor this year. We're going to do an interview. We have a bunch of interviews lined up. But to the listening audience, you listen to this, you a long time listener, a new listener, please type into the chat right now a question that you have. A question you want to be asked to the mentor. So we can record it, do it privately. We'll come on, we'll answer the questions to the best of our ability, and then we'll figure out a format to do it live. We can do it live. It just is gonna the stream's gonna look different. So we gotta make sure that we have a good stream. But other than that, for the most part, one of our mentors is willing to come out this year. Very much so happy to do an interview publicly with their face. And we know that that's a big deal. So we're gonna share this individual with the vault listeners. Please type into the chat a question that you have. This episode is just the source questions from trustees, new listeners about trusteeship, foundationship. There's going to be some questions that we can ask them. We can sit on the line with them for an hour and get a straight raw dialogue. But what we want to do is we want to involve the listeners in the Q&A. So what that means is you all are going to type a question into the chat on this episode, and then in turn we're going to do another episode answering those questions. Me and one of the mentors. He will show his face. Trust Christian has no problem with it either. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have a conversation. It will be considered in the public, but it's not considered as much in the public as we would like to think, but it is for the most part. So we're going to have that trustee conversation. So it's very imperative to type into the chat or send over an email, christian@trustchristian.com. And we're going to plan on doing that episode here within the next 24 hours. It is being recorded. We know we're going to have a bunch of questions that come through. So that's why we're going to make it a point to actually, get the questions answered as much as we can in a Q&A session. Of course, this should take multiple sessions. But we're going to do our best to answer it in less than a 30-minute session. If we can do our best to answer an hour, we can. But we'll do our best. So this mentor is private trustee mentor. Dad was a judge. Sister's an attorney. They went to law school. So when you all ask the caliber of mentorship that we have over at the vault, some people may say, oh, how good can the mentorship be if somebody's dad was a judge? So once again, having senior trustees, second generation trustee access, very, very important. And so we're here to go over it because this is one of those mentors that actually creates publications in the public. So it's not one of those ones that is like hiding under a rock, but they are creating publications in the public. So we definitely want to share this mentor with you all. We really want to make the episode as valuable as we possibly can. And that in turn means that you all are going to type a question into the chat. That's what's going to happen. We're going to type a question into the chat for the mentor Q&A. Somebody may say, well, what line of question? Once again, trusteeship questions, foundationship questions. Some people say, well, what kind of question would I have if you're second gen, you got second gen questions. If you're first gen, you got first gen questions. Sure, it could be generic, but we're talking to the private mentor. Some people may say, Well, I don't know what to ask. Once again, what is the biggest problem or the initial problems that's keeping you all from doing what you're supposed to do in trusteeship so far? It's always easy to count the upside, but what's going on with the downside? How can we mitigate our downside risk moving forward? How can we minimize our loss? How can we? Well, we know how to do that by asking questions, by getting around smarter people, asking the mentors what associations have they joined. It's one of those things. We used to sit around and think about, okay, how does this mentor get through the airport with a firearm? We used to wonder that. Like, we know he carries a firearm going through the airport. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. You're like, but how are you able to do that? Well, there are laws that allow you to do that, and most people don't know how to properly register. They don't know how to do it in trust. Some people may be scared to do it because they don't know how to do it in trust. But when you don't come from the right background, this is the facts of life. What do we got to do? We got to step up to the plate and we have to learn that information because no one's just we could say people aren't out here just giving out the information, but for the most part they're not. And then when you talk to this particular mentor, he's going to let you know there's a difference between public and private. So a lot of the attorneys that you talk to on the public side don't even study what we're talking about because they don't have cases where they have enough cases where they have to deal with families to use these type of laws to protect families. You know how many people are going to go through the work to actually find out how to carry the firearm privately in trusteeship? Oh, it's so hard. It's a piece of property. Oh, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to transfer the property into the trust. Do I got to register it with the state? How do I do that? Who do I get in contact with? And that's the mentor that we're going to go ahead and bring on for y'all. So we're just going to go ahead and do it starting out this year, swinging for the fences. They talk that, oh, Trust Christian, I need mentorship. You got to pay for it. This is one of those mentors. Sure, you can read all you want. There's a difference between theory and practicum. There's a big